What we're talking about, of course, is the railway between Sault Ste. Marie and Sudbury and how it affects all of the communities in between. It's a historical rail line. It's been around for 100 years. In 1997, CP and Huron Central entered into a long-term lease to maintain the railway operation. CP owns the railway, Huron Central leases it from them. With the downturn in the economy, subsequent reduced customer requirements, and a problem that they were having with major infrastructure repairs, HCR was having trouble keeping their head above water and they were losing money. So CPHCR and other stakeholders did try to remedy the problem. They tried to get traffic volume commitments from major customers, which were impossible given the economy, and also tried to get capital investment funding from the federal and provincial governments, and that's part of what we're here for today. The quote before you, as a result of declining traffic volumes and the lack of any suitable government infrastructure funding, HCR intends to discontinue operations by August 15th for the portion west of McCarroll and October 31st for the portion from Sudbury and Espanola, is what Mr. Broe had to tell us when we heard him announce the closure of the railway in June. There was a significant requirement for infrastructure repairs. We need $33 million over the next decade or so to make that railway anywhere near viable. And CP has told us that they have no intention of operating the railway. They are not in the short line business, in their own minds at least. And if we weren't going to operate the railway or find somebody else that would do it, then CPR was prepared to walk away, and that would result in the line being closed. HCR had no intention of purchasing or leasing the line again because they felt it was money losing. Particularly, they were not able to provide, for example, the track speeds even associated with good customer service. And they would only remain involved if mandated by a third party. In other words, if somebody like ourselves were able to engage and get things to a level where they felt that they could run a decent operation and make a few dollars. So in a nutshell, if there was no agreement, the railway was going to be closed, is going to be closed. The impact is huge, very, very huge to this part of the world. There will be immediate job losses. For example, with the closure of the railway, it's 45 jobs right off the top. And there are a lot of ancillary job losses associated with the fact that we, for example, our steel may not go as quickly or may cost a little more. There are all sorts of forestry workers along the lines that are dependent to some extent on this railway. And there's opportunities for expansion, certainly, that will be lost, notwithstanding the possibility that in the future multimodal may in fact be a very real entity. There will be a loss of the tax base. We're not going to be able to grow. We're going to struggle to stay ahead. And so it will have major impacts on Northern Ontario. And also it'll have huge environmental impacts. The last time I was before you, I indicated that the impacts environmentally were in the neighborhood of 10,000 trucks. 10 to 15,000 we thought, and possibly up to 600% increase in hydrocarbon pollutants. Now, with a more fuller understanding of the situation and with the potential for SR's expansion, for example, the environmental impact implications are much, much greater. We could be looking at 20 to 40,000 more trucks on the road, and we could be looking at up to 1,500% increase in pollutants. Not to mention the road congestion and the safety issues associated with it. So what have we done to date? We've, as our community and the industries here, as well as the communities and industries in various places along the line, have expressed their concerns to federal and provincial representatives as well as the railway officials. We did have a stakeholders meeting with Canadian Pacific Railway officials on June the 30th, and there were a number of people from the community and a few other stakeholders here. And then we had a general stakeholders meeting on July the 14th, and we had 50-odd representatives from various communities and industries between and including from here to Sudbury. At that discussion, there was a unanimous feeling that we needed to do something. We needed to move ahead with this and make it work and find a solution. And we established a working committee there. We realized that you couldn't have 50 communities working at sort of unorganized direction. So we established a working committee of SR Domtar and the city of Sault Ste. Marie, represented by Joe Fertizzi. Now, at that time, we also thought that we might have Vail included, but it was later deemed that they did not particularly have a stake here and were not prepared to spend the time and effort necessary at this time. We developed a two-stage approach to solving this problem. Stage one was to develop and operate the line, develop a strategy whereby we could operate the line for 1 year. And that's what we're primarily here to talk to you about this evening. But stage two is then to develop a permanent solution. And you can't have one without the other. Stage one on its own would only give us 1 year of respite. But it's tied very closely to a two-step process that everybody has bought into in principle.